Welcome to Stuttering Sports. Today is February 13th, 2021, and the topic for today is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Where do they go following the 2020 collapse? And have the Steelers potentially lost their identity? So without further ado, let's get right into it. But a little disclaimer before I do, I'd like to just point out the fact that I do not know more than the people that are making these decisions. I'm not saying that everything I say is hyper realistic because I don't know the Steelers situation as well as the people being paid to actually make the decisions. So yeah, I feel like that needs to be said because not enough fans do understand that. I'm merely a fan and just giving my thoughts on what I think the Steelers should do. So without further ado, let's get right into it. The first name you definitely have to talk about is Big Ben, and he's not a free agent, but there were a lot of retirement questions just looming following the season. You saw the end of the Browns game where he told Marquise Pouncey, "You're the only reason that I wanted to do this." I assume wanted to do this was play one more season, but apparently he does want to come back for the 2021-2022 season, which I am personally all for. I mean, Mason Rudolph, I do think he looked good during the Browns game, but I don't think he's a starting QB. And I do like the Dwayne Haskins signing. It's such a low risk, high reward that, well, if it doesn't work out, you can just cut him. It really does not matter. But I do think Ben coming back is definitely for the better, especially knowing that he will take a pay cut because, boy, it's a $42 million cap hit without him taking a pay cut. That would be fantastic. But the reason a lot of retirement questions are looming is because Marquise Pouncey, the Pittsburgh Steelers center for 11 seasons now, did retire yesterday. Congratulations to Mike and Marquise Pouncey. But the reason that loops back to Ben is because Ben and Pouncey have always said, hey, we're going to retire together. We're going to retire together. Then when we saw the end of the Browns games I previously mentioned, when, it was just him and Pouncey just on the bench talking, saying, you're the only reason that I wanted to do this. This sucks worse. It's I feel worse for you than me or something like that. Yeah, so that was kind of the consensus. But yeah, Marquise Pouncey retiring, that is a major blow. And it's looking like that's not going to be the only offensive line blow this offseason with Alejandro Villanueva starting left tackle. Probably going to leave. He is 32 now. I don't know really why he would leave. He does embody that Pittsburgh culture of the tough guy, knowing that he was a former member of our armed services, so I do think it would be so cool to bring him back, but I do not think that is realistic one bit. I do think he's going to ask for a little more money than we can currently afford. So then when you look at the draft, I think you got to go offensive lineman. You are losing your offensive tackle and your center in the same free agency period. That is terrible. That is awful. But I must say Pittsburgh's offensive line does have some positives, though, with the rookie Kevin Dotson, fourth rounder of the 2020 draft, did have an outstanding rookie season. He impressed the hell out of me and many other Steelers fans. So I do think he will be a great addition for years and years and years to come. But, David DeCastro, free agent next year. Matt Filer, free agent this year. Zach Banner, free agent this year. Villanueva, free agent this year. Marquise Pouncey, already retired. Pittsburgh's offensive line has to be the main focus, not only this draft, but also next draft. Because I do think Pittsburgh has done an okay job at repairing it for the time being with bringing in Dotson during last year's draft. Then I believe the 2018 draft, excuse me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, but the right tackle Okafor, I do think he made great strides this season, so I do think that right side is guarded up with two young players that have a lot of room to grow. I do very, very much like that. But I think this draft, you have to go offensive tackle, and you have to re-sign Filer and Banner if you cannot bring back Villanueva, not because they're these great offensive linemen, but because you need that depth. And I think Filer and Banner, they're not like something to write home about, but they're playable. Like, they're not complete bums. So I do think bringing back Banner and Filer would be great to protect Ben for assumingly one last season, which I'm all for Ben coming back one more season. Hopefully his elbow can repair some more, but who will he be throwing the ball to, and will he still be throwing the ball to Juju Smith-Schuster? What are my thoughts on that? Juju, would I bring him back? It depends. It's a giant question mark. Is he going to continue the off-the-field, I don't want to say antics, but I guess kind of antics, because I'm all for Juju being a social media star. I'm all for him streaming on Twitch. I don't care. Just literally, just get your money. I don't care. He's an entertaining dude. He's a celebrity. The brand that he's built has been really cool to see since he's been drafted, and I do congratulate him for that. But when he started to mix, his brand with kind of on the field antics, dancing on logos, dancing in the middle of the game during the Browns playoff loss, it's like, okay, dude, you should stop doing that or you're going to get off the team. So it depends. I do personally think that Mike Tomlin should have a sit-down talk with Juju and throw Claypool there too and say, hey, guys, stop doing the TikTok Q&As a day after the damn playoff loss. Do not put on your Twitch stream title, which NFL team should I go to next, and don't dance on the damn logos. Now, that would be very ideal. Has it happened? We don't know. Also, will it happen? We also don't know that. I would be all for it, though. But yeah, I do think if Juju, if he's not going to, if he's going to stop mixing the two, then I'd be all for bringing him back, because I think he's a very talented receiver. I think he gets a lot of unnecessary hate just because of the dancing on logo stuff. But, he's a fantastic wide receiver. Just because he's not a superstar doesn't mean he cannot be a fantastic slot receiver. And, yeah, I think Deontay Johnson, Claypool, and Juju can be a fantastic three-headed monster for years to come. It just depends on if the off-the-field shit just calms down. So, yeah, Pittsburgh's offense, the running game was the major problem last season. James Conner is most likely gone. That has been the big consensus. And I do wish him luck wherever he goes next. And that does suck because, Pittsburgh's left with Benny Snell and Anthony McFarland, two dudes who I don't think are going to be very good. I think Pittsburgh needs to draft a running back, whether that be Najee Harris during the first. I would not be opposed to that, but the offensive line need is definitely greater than any Najee Harris or Travis Etienne could fill. So yeah, Pittsburgh's running game, I don't see that changing much this offseason. Pittsburgh doesn't have the money to sign someone, and maybe a third-round gem pops out like a Kareem Hunt. Now that would be awesome. But yeah, the Steelers' offense moving forward is going to look very different. Ben is coming back for one more season. That's not totally confirmed. That's just kind of that is the rumor right now. That would be great to see. Take a little pay cut. Hopefully bring back Villanueva. I don't see it happening. That means you got to draft an offensive lineman. Definitely bring back Filer and Banner. Definitely re-sign them. Then with the receiving core, Juju is the major question mark. I love his play when he's on the field, but if the off-the-field antics are going to continue, I'm sorry. I think you just got to let him walk and go wherever he wants to go to. So, yeah, that is it for the offense. Let's move on to the defense. Well, it will be much shorter than the offensive segment. The defense will also look a little different next year because, I don't see Bud Dupree coming back. And Bud Dupree, I loved watching him progress over these last few years. It sucks that he's going to leave, but Pittsburgh, not only, I don't think they would pay him north of $20 million per year, but they can't pay him north of $20 million per year. And I'm not going to fault Bud Dupree for going to a team like maybe the Jets or the Jags and just getting his money. How would I fault him for that? I would not blame him one bit. So that does suck knowing that Bud Dupree's kind of gone, but I do think Pittsburgh is in good hands with edge rusher Alex Highsmith, the third-round pick. He had a good rookie season when he did fill in for Bud Dupree following the torn the torn ACL. I do think he played well. Then for a rookie, I'll be happy to watch him progress from here. Moving on to more defensive line talk, nose tackle Tyson Alualu, one of the highest rated PFF players. Now, most of the time PFF is kind of dumb, but he actually did have a fantastic season. His ability to stuff the run was very, very, very fun to watch this season, and hopefully he is a veteran, so hopefully he comes back for more of a team-friendly deal. That would be sick to see, but definitely beyond Bud Dupree, the major headline for Pittsburgh's defense is, oh my gosh, is J.J. Watt coming? Me personally, I'm all for it. You want to have more edge rushers? Bring in more edge rushers. As the old saying goes, you can never have enough edge rushers. You can constantly rotate them. It would be awesome to see, especially with Bud Dupree probably gone. Bring in J.J. Watt, because who knows if Highsmith is going to really progress or not. I really do hope he does, and I think he will. But, we truly don't know. So bring in J.J. Watt. But on the other hand, it's not Pittsburgh's decision. It is J.J. Watt's choice, and I wouldn't blame him for going to the Packers. That's a whole other discussion entirely. But yeah, if J.J. Watt wants to come along for a team-friendly deal, you obviously do that. There is no discussion there. But then the biggest discussion with Pittsburgh's defense moving forward, beyond J.J. Watt and Bud Dupree, the defensive line, is most definitely the secondary, specifically the cornerbacks, because you look at because when you look at Pittsburgh's free agency class this year, you got Cameron Sutton and Mike Hilton. Both are cornerbacks. Then you look at the 2022 free agency, well, you got Steven Nelson and Joe Hayden. Those are the four main cornerbacks are all free agents over the next 2 years, and I think you have to re-sign Hilton and Sutton. I do think Hilton should be re-signed regardless. He played a fantastic role for Pittsburgh last season, but I also think you should throw Cam Sutton in there, because let's just say you lose Hayden and Nelson next offseason, then you're put in an awful position. So I do think regardless, you do have to bring back Hilton and Sutton. I would be all for it myself. To kind of round out this defensive talk, inside linebacker Robert Spillane is also a free agent, and another free agent that I think Pittsburgh should re-sign. He is one of the best pass coverage linebackers in the NFL. I would love to see him come back. I do understand that he won't play as much with a Devin Bush coming back, but maybe we can experiment. Some more 3-4. Throw Bush and Spillane in there when they're going to throw the ball, and that would be some pretty cool stuff. So yeah, Pittsburgh's identity moving forward is definitely TJ Watt, and we're definitely going to see that shift this season with Ben most likely playing his last season. I say most likely, not because he'll play in 2023, but most likely that he'll come back for one last season. So, yeah. So, just for a quick recap, and by the way, this is all under the assumption that Ben is coming back next year, where I think Pittsburgh should prioritize in both the draft and in free agency, is definitely the running game, worst rushing game in the 2020 season. Definitely reinforce the offensive line with losing Marquise Pouncey and most likely Villanueva this offseason. So definitely draft running back, an offensive lineman, maybe throw in a nose tackle too if a Tyson Alualu does not return. But yeah, for the free agents that I'd like to see re-sign, definitely Mike Hilton and Cam Sutton and Robert Spillane for the defensive side of things. I'd love to see Tyson Alualu come back, but on the other hand, if he does want to ring chase and go to a more suitable destination, then go for it. On the offensive side of things, I'd love to see Juju come back, but I'm not completely opposed to him leaving. So, yeah, I think Pittsburgh really needs to reinforce the culture of a tough run game, and that starts this offseason with really getting the offensive line together. It's going to be a rough offseason or two for Steelers fans, and that is tough to take in. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends. If not, share it with your friends. Leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to stick around for other videos.